Hey friends, I hope y'all are all doing well today. I'm real excited because what I've got in my mind is to take y'all on a trip down memory lane. And of course, you know what that means, a trip to Riverbend. I don't think I've ever taken y'all there. You know, there was one thing that I really wanted to do with Michael. And I wanted to take him to a place that was so special to me as a child. It's where I spent the first 10 years of my life. And it's really where it all started. And that was Riverbend. Look at the pecan trees. Great time of day. The finest pecans in the world come out of this county. So, Michael, we're on US 19 right now. And it was called, what was it called? I can't remember. It had a nickname. Sunshine Parkway or something like that. But this was the only road from the north down to Florida. And if you went to Florida, you had to come down this road. You had no choice. And my granddaddy, when he built Riverbend, he saw an opportunity to make the family a fine living by offering lodging and Grandma's wonderful meals. All right, now here, oh look, Riverbend. Riverbend. And look, that was the service station right over there. Michael, this is where it started.
Uh-huh.
And the cabin set back there.
Where?
Right back there amongst all those trees.
Uh-huh.
And the hotel was right there. It's breathtaking.
I want to go fishing.
Just breathtaking. Oh, Granddaddy. Granddaddy would stand out here. Michael, he was a fly fisherman like you wouldn't believe. Watching him fly fish was like watching poetry in motion.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Grandma was a fisherman from way back, and so was Mama and Aunt Peggy. But you can see why I wanted to name our house Riverbend.
Oh, without a doubt. This is just simply gorgeous.
Because it's just an incredible spot. And I know that Bobby makes fun of me. But this is truly where it started. My first memory is here. It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So this truly is where it all started. In honor of Riverbend and my grandmother and grandfather Paul, I'm gonna cook a typical meal that my grandmother would have cooked, because my granddaddy was a huge fisherman. He loved fly fishing. But I couldn't get my hands on any trout today, so that's all right. He caught a brim and catfish in that river. So I'm gonna be preparing y'all catfish, and I'm gonna do it just like my grandmother would have done it. I'm gonna probably make one little change. And I wanna show y'all something real quick, like before we get started, because I got real tickled. I've got a phony tail. Y'all know what a phony tail is, don't you? Well, I looked down and Lulu is under the stove and she's sticking out a little. And I thought, dadgum, those dogs have gotten a hold of my ponytail. And thank goodness, I mean, it looked just like it. She's moved back a little bit more, but it looked just like my ponytail. Lulu and I have the same color hair. We go to the same hairdresser. So let's get started on today's meal. I have got my coleslaw all ready. My Aunt Peggy taught me years ago to put bell pepper in your coleslaw because it gives it that great crunch. And so that's all I got to do, really, is just stir that in, and this is ready. I mixed some vinegar and sugar together, and then stirred in my mayonnaise, and I used some silly salt in it. Okay. I made my coleslaw in a big bowl, so I'm just gonna transfer it into a nice clean bowl. Oh, and guess what else I'm cooking? You know, we couldn't have fish that we didn't have grits. So I've got a nice pot of buttery, creamy grits going back there. Ooh, that looks so good. It's gonna be so good and crunchy. All right, so that's done. You know, a fish meal is very, very easy to do. It doesn't take that long because, you know, I've said it 1,000 times, but I'll say it one more time. You don't want to overcook your fish because that will definitely ruin it. All right, so one down. Y'all, the grits are looking good. I just added a little bit more water. So while your grits are cooking, you know, you may have to adjust it a little bit, and that's all right. It's fine as long as you got enough salt in it. Because if you don't put your salt in it when you first start cooking grits, you will never get them salty enough. I don't know what it is about that, but you want to make sure your water's good and salty. So the grits are ready, the tartar sauce is ready, the slaw is ready. So all I've got to do is make the hush puppies and then fry my catfish fillets, and it's gonna be so good, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and season my fish, and you wanna make sure when you're cooking fish that you got it good and salty. Because remember, this came out of fresh water, so it didn't have that salt water to, you know, make it even more salty. So I'm gonna flip these over. This was a big old catfish, y'all. This was a fine looking catfish. So let me tell y'all what actually took me back to Albany. I had a class reunion. I'd be lying if I said I didn't get just a little bit nervous, that I wasn't a little nervous. Because you want people to say, oh gosh, Paula, you look good, time's been good to you. You know, you don't want to pull up and say, whew, what happened to her? Y'all, here we are at our reunion 50 years ago. These were the most important people in the whole entire world. Y'all, this is Judy Holman. She and I were cheerleaders together.
That's right.
Garland! This is Barbara. Look, she hadn't aged a bit. This is David Campbell. This is Carolyn Crum. Carolyn and I played together as little girls. Our parents were like best friends.
We played Jack.
We played Jackstones together, honey.
That's
You
it.
look so beautiful. Well, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Now, I've got to tell y'all something. This is Patricia Whitman. She was on our cheerleading squad. She was the only one that could do those flips and all that back stuff, that fancy stuff. Us other girls just had to swish our hips and kind of look cute.
And look good.
And I had such a good time. Y'all, I think I danced until midnight, believe it or not, because I'm not much of a dancer. Even though I've been on Dance with the Stars, I'm not much of a dancer. But I had such a good time. We had the best band in the whole entire world playing for us. Now, I'm gonna sprinkle, this is just a little Old Bay. So I'm gonna sit that aside, and I'm gonna get started making our hush puppies. Now, I like to put a good bit of flour in my hush puppies. Some people won't put but like a tablespoon or two, but I use more than that because, you know, I just prefer flour over meal. Now, I'm gonna start by putting 1 cup. In fact, I bought this meal while I was in Albany, y'all. I can't seem to find real good meal over here in Savannah. So this is some good old plain cornmeal. It's a fine ground meal, and it's just the best. All right, so I'm gonna use my 1/2 cup measurer, and I'm gonna put about a 1/2 cup of, I'm using self-rising flour, that's all right. One's self-rising and one's plain, but that's all right because I'm adding a teaspoon of soda and a teaspoon and a half of baking powder. And I'm gonna need about a teaspoon of salt. So that looks about like a teaspoon. I hope it's not too much. So I'm just gonna mix that together. I'm gonna put my egg in. All right, so now I'm gonna probably add about a cup of buttermilk. It'll probably take for 2 cups of this, maybe a little bit more. After you get your hush puppies made, you want to let them sit a little bit because it'll swell up and all blend together, and it may turn out that you need a little bit more liquid. And I like a lot of onion. All right, so I'm gonna switch this to one of my neatest bowls in the world. This is actually a hush puppy bowl, y'all. So you want this pretty thick because you don't want, when you drop your hush puppy batter, you don't want it going every which way. So this is what that extra little bowl is for, y'all. It's for your water, because before I can drop a hush puppy in the pot, you have to dip your spoon in water, and when you drop that hush puppy in, it'll all just slide right out of that spoon. Okay, kiddos, so now we're ready to address the fish. Now, I sprinkled it with salt and pepper and a little Old Bay. And now my grandma, this is where we differ, y'all. My grandma would use straight meal, where my mother introduced flour into the mix. And I like that so much better. So I'm gonna actually use more flour than I do meal. And I'm just using an all-purpose meal, just like I made my hush puppies from, but I'm using self-rising flour, so it really doesn't matter. All right, so you just wanna mix that up real good. And then we're gonna dip our catfish fillets in that. Oh, you know what? I wanted to sprinkle this with a little buttermilk. By sprinkling it with a little buttermilk, it'll just help it stick. I think buttermilk kind of makes everything fried a little bit better, don't y'all? All right, so here we go. Into our mixture. And into the frying pan. You know what? I think I'm gonna cut these in two, because like I said, that was a dadgum big catfish. All right, I need to check and see what temperature our grease is at. I like to fry at 350. I really probably should have had a bigger pot. I would feel better if I was cooking this in my Dutch oven, which is, we all have our memories, don't we? Every one of us has memories of when we were a child, you know, and I'm always referring to the safe years, you know, where you feel so safe. And this just brings back all those memories of that wonderful restaurant there at Riverbend where my grandmother ran it like clockwork. She was so good at what she did. I can just see my Aunt Trina. She had just white blonde hair, and she was 3 years older than me. And she got me in so much trouble. She'd send me to raid the candy counter. And I can just hear my granddaddy hollering, "That little heifer is eating up all of our profits. Kari, get that little heifer out of here." Kari was my mama. We all have those memories, and I hope that y'all can look back in your memory lane and get as much comfort from your memories as I do from mine. And you know what? I may stick a few hush puppies in around where I got a little room. So I want to show y'all how that, see, that water makes that batter just fall right off. It's the greatest little trick. So I got everything ready. I got my wonderful creamy grits and the crunchy, crispy coleslaw. And of course the fried fish and the hush puppies. And I love this because it's actually some things I can taste without my friends knowing that I've been in it first, because I am a stickler about making sure that food is perfect before I call everybody to the table. So look at those buttery grits, y'all. Gotta have some coleslaw to cool those off. They're hot as fire, but so good, so creamy. So I used milk, and I put about a half a cup of half and half in them, and butter and salt and pepper. Nothing fancy. No big tricks. The coleslaw is delicious. And you know, I was telling y'all, I just love a little bit of tartar sauce with my hush puppies. So good. Delicious. The tartar sauce is just like a couple of handfuls of diced dill pickles and an onion and mayonnaise. And then I put a little silly salt, and that's it. And of course, y'all saw what I did to the fish. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. And that little bit of seasoning that I put on it just really makes it pop. So I hope y'all had fun today visiting with me. I hope you had fun going to Riverbend and then coming back to my modern day Riverbend. Yep, we wound up naming this piece of property Riverbend. I didn't even realize in my subconscious I was trying to recreate the place that I grew up in. Of course, we don't have a motel here, and we don't have a restaurant. Sometimes I feel like it's a motel, the way people come and visit and stay with me. But anyway, I hope y'all had fun, because I certainly had fun being with y'all. I look so forward to visiting with you at least once a week. Y'all have a blessed day, and love and best dishes. Yum.
I'll never forget going into the bank. It was 4 teller lines. And you'd go in on a Friday afternoon, and there would be 9 people in one line, and the other 3 lines would be nobody there. And they wouldn't look to another teller because they were trying to get them to come down. And what it amounted to is everybody wanted to go up and let Paula wait on them. I can remember going in and putting $5 in my passbook savings just to be able to get up close to Paula and say hey and cut up with her a few minutes. What a sweet lady she is, and really interesting, and we're so proud of her success and what all she's done and how she's given back to the community. And in Albany, we claim Paula, we really do, and we think she's a fantastic lady, and we wish her the best. Thank you.
Made in Georgia.